On a cold evening when the city lights flickered and people rushed home to their warm dinners, a police officer named Daniel was patrolling the streets, his usual shift filled with the hum of traffic and the quiet loneliness of a job where you often carry more stories in your heart than anyone ever knows, and that night his eyes caught sight of something unusual, something that stopped him mid-step, for there in the corner near the dumpsters behind a grocery store was a frail girl, no older than 19, her clothes torn, her hair tangled by wind and struggle, and yet her hands were working quickly, digging through black garbage bags, pulling out scraps of stale bread, half-eaten sandwiches, crumpled bottles that could be exchanged for a few coins, and beside her, wrapped in a thin faded blanket, lay a tiny baby with wide eyes that looked too innocent for such a cruel world. The sight pierced through Daniel's trained composure, for though he had seen countless crimes, arrests, and even tragedies on the job, nothing had prepared him for the quiet desperation of a mother who had nothing but still shielded her child with her very being, and as he walked closer, the girl noticed him and froze, her thin frame trembling, fear flashing across her tired eyes, as if expecting to be yelled at, chased away, or even arrested, and Daniel, sensing her terror, softened his voice, asking gently, "Hey, are you all right?" But the girl shook her head, clutching the baby tighter to her chest, whispering words that cracked under the weight of despair, "Please don't take her away, she's all I have," and in that moment Daniel's heart shattered in a way he hadn't felt in years, because he realized she wasn't stealing, she wasn't causing trouble, she was only trying to keep her child alive, and so he crouched down, lowering himself to her level, telling her softly that she wasn't in trouble, that he only wanted to understand, and as the girl's trembling eased just slightly, she began to speak in broken sentences, her story unfolding like pieces of a torn letter, how she had been abandoned by her parents after refusing to give up the baby, how the father of the child had disappeared the moment responsibility knocked at his door, how every shelter she went to was either full or unsafe, and so she survived by collecting bottles, trash, anything that could earn a single meal for her daughter, and Daniel listened, his chest heavy, his mind echoing with the injustice of it all, and though part of him wanted to call child services, another part of him, the part that still believed in humanity beyond rules, wanted to protect her, not separate her from the only love she had left, the baby girl whose tiny fingers peeked out of the blanket as if reaching for hope, and the more Daniel listened, the more he felt the weight of society's blind eye, how so many people passed by the dumpsters daily, never noticing, never caring. Here was a girl whose strength to keep going was greater than any headline of heroism he had ever read, and Daniel asked her name, to which she replied in a whisper, "Emily," and the baby, she added, was named Hope, because even in the filth of trash, even in the hunger and the cold, she refused to let go of the one thing that kept her alive, and Daniel, feeling his throat tighten, nodded slowly, promising silently to himself that he wouldn't let her disappear into the shadows of the city. Like another forgotten soul, and as the night deepened, their conversation grew, Emily telling him stories of nights spent under bridges, mornings begging for milk at small shops, afternoons hiding from those who mocked or tried to hurt her, and Daniel's eyes burned with unshed tears, for every word was a reminder of how broken the world was, yet how unbreakable a mother's love could be, and as Emily's voice cracked, she finally said the words that shattered him completely, "I don't care if I starve. I just need my baby to smile one more day," and in that moment Daniel realized this was not just a girl, not just a case, but a story the world needed to hear, a story that could wake hearts numb from comfort, a story that demanded compassion over judgment, and though his badge carried the power of the law, Daniel knew his humanity carried the greater power of choice, the choice to help, to care, to become the reason this girl and her baby might find tomorrow brighter than today, and as he stood under the dim streetlight watching Emily rock her baby to sleep amidst trash bags and cold winds, Daniel silently vowed that this was just the beginning of something larger, a story no viewer should skip, for it holds the kind of truth that makes us question ourselves, and if you are listening to this now, if you are watching Emily's struggle unfold, let it remind you that sometimes one moment of kindness can change an entire life, so stay with me for the next chapter, because the journey of Officer Daniel, Emily, and baby Hope is only beginning, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next, so make sure you subscribe to this channel, because what comes after will touch your heart even deeper than this moment tonight.